John Cleese says, listen, creativity is not a skill, it's a state of mind. He said, when you're open, when you're in this open space, when you're in this open state of mind, you're having fun and you're relaxed and you're laughing and having a good time, that's when the great ideas come to you. That's when you get the creative ideas. When you're in the closed frame of mind, you're doing working on project deadlines, you're in an Excel spreadsheet, you're at the office, that shuts down creativity. So that happens a lot at the office, being at the office. So you got to keep that in mind, and I think everybody here who's ever said, yeah, I'm not really creative, I disagree with you. I think you need to just try to get in the right space. And take a second right now, think about the last brilliant idea that you had, that you just thought this was amazing, even if you didn't implement it. Think about where you were at that time. Where were you? What was the setting? You know, was it on the hammock? Was it in a business meeting? Were you dazing off? That kind of thing. And go back to that place. So another way I think, personally, to get you in the frame of mind is some rules from improv. I studied at the Upright Citizens Brigade years ago under these folks here and learned, I'm just going to share 3 principles that I think help us, that you can apply. They'll help you kind of get open and creative, and it'll also help you come up with ideas for content. So this is the Herald. It's a long-form improv format. So just imagine if I asked for 7 of you to get together and come up on stage with nothing, with no preparation, no ideas, no anything, and we take one suggestion from an audience, and then you go perform for 30 minutes in a 9-act play, if you will, and it's brilliant. Think about that. That's what the Herald is. That's what people do in the Herald all the time. And, you know, what are the rules that allow them to do that? They truly trust each other. They don't judge their own ideas, and they're supportive of each other. So if we took that kind of idea and approach and really brought that to collaboration at the workplace, we'd be so much more successful in this content space. So let's talk about rule number 1. And I love this one. I love this one. There are no mistakes, only gifts. Doesn't matter what happens on stage. It takes a while. You have to be in improv for 2 years, 3 years before you truly believe this. But I think once we all embrace this and we really believe this, it will change your life. You look at the things that, you know, look, a lot of times I sit here and think, man, what am I doing? Look at my age. Look where I am in my career. I made a lot of wrong turns. But I have to believe that, you know what, those weren't mistakes. They got me to the right place. And there's just a lot of peace and a lot of grace in that, and I think that's critical for the creative process. I love this quote from Cleese. He says, when you're in the open mode, nothing will stop you so effectively as the fear of making a mistake. So once you embrace that first idea, you can get beyond what holds you up. Here's a case study. Listen, my slides are on the way. I updated them. They should be up on SlideShare, slideshare.net/Tim Washer. I hope they're up there. If not, they'll be up there shortly, I think. So I'm going to go quickly through these slides. Pbs Digital Studios. Here's how they changed the culture when they started this. The company, they said, the division, they said, listen, we're going to make failure part of your performance review. So we want to see a certain number of failures, not just, you know, not blowing it off, but serious consideration that you've put into a project and it didn't work out. And that's going to be part of your success. That changes things. That gets everybody comfortable with failure because it's tough. Cleese also says, like in a committee, you know, if one person says, I don't feel good about this, it kind of shuts creativity down. So here's what they did in the first year alone. Look at these results. By just changing the culture, by simply making everybody feel comfortable with making mistakes. Take this on. Get your top executive to send an email out when something doesn't work and say, hey, this person took a big risk. It was calculated. They thought about the consequences, and they went forward. You know, it didn't work out like we thought, but way to go for taking a risk. Improv rule number 2, take care of your partner, okay? So I can't explain this. I've experienced it, but I don't know how to explain it. But I've been up on stage, and an idea in a scene with a partner, ideas come to me that I know would get a big laugh. And if instead of taking it, if I say another line that sets my partner up to have the laugh, it's always a wonderful experience. Everybody always wins. And it's, of course, we don't always operate that way in the corporate world. Matter of fact, has anybody been in a committee meeting? Just a show of hands. Okay, about a couple people in the back. All right, we got a few people. Let me walk you through real quick. This is what a committee meeting looks like, okay? So If your team's not as diverse like this, you probably need to go do some more hiring. You're going to get a call from HR. But I want to quickly go through the roles. You have a facilitator, a scribe, a timekeeper, and a scapegoat. So these are supposed to be about collaboration. But a lot of times, committee meetings are about reducing risk, taking credit, and placing blame. So it's not really a friendly home for the creative process. Keep the committee small, and by small, I mean maybe just yourself, one other person, and get it done separately, and I'll get into it a little bit more. But here are a few other ideas. I'm not going to go over all these, but Spacey's going to cover a few of these later on. But it's collaboration. I usually, when I say collaboration, it's usually in air quotes, because I just see it's not authentic always. But these are some of the challenges you're up against. Go build relationships with people. They're going to be folks involved in the process along the line of getting you approval. Go have a cup of coffee with them and sit down and understand, what do they want? What makes them successful? Learn how, if you're bumping heads with somebody in the organization, go learn how they are successful, how they're measured on success. And then honestly and authentically try to help them out. And I know that's tough. That's difficult for me sometimes. It's very difficult for me. But the times when I've been genuine about trying to make them successful, it always works out better. It helps the relationship. But be genuine about trying to be political. So, which is not always the case here if you watch House of Cards. The rest of you, actually, we should probably just take a break and watch the first episode of House of Cards.